right off the top, to be frank, the project was alright. My thing with Big Sean is I'll probably make some video talking about it, like for another video whole topic. But to be frank and to be straight to the point, my thing with Sean is I'm not really a fan of his, but I can see the potential, but I'm just not really a fan. And that's really what it comes down to. I'm not a fan, but I can see the potential. Sean, when he's hitting and he's really like on point, he can be very great to listen to. I mean, Sean is very much like, say, Lil Wayne. He's a very braggadocious punchline rapper. And given he's that type of rapper, similar to Wayne, he can be very hit or miss. I mean, I'm a Wayne fan, and Wayne has the same style as Sean. The only difference between them is that Sean can be a little bit more introspective. Wayne's a little bit more straight braggadocious, which he gets from his influence of having Jay-Z in his DNA. Because Jay-Z's very braggadocious, and Lil Wayne is. And Wayne is straight up, like, he's like a southern Jay-Z, basically, in style. Sean is very much like Lil Wayne. I think even Lil Wayne's one of his favorite rappers. But Sean is a little bit more introspective. But him and Wayne both have that style of punchline rap. And one thing that I take away from punchline rap is that it can be very hit or miss, all dependent on the lines. And given that they're punchline rappers and given how punchline rap can be, it can be very hit or miss to where they can have some good ass lines. Like, obviously, everyone knows Lil Wayne's career. He can sound dope as hell. He can sound amazing, like a Millie, 6 foot, 7 foot. Everyone knows those classic bars in those songs. But on the other hand, people also know the whack bars Lil Wayne has spit. People know about the beat the pussy up like Emmett Till. So people know how punchline rap can be. It can be very hit or miss. It can be very up. It can be very down. And that's what Sean is. And that's why I've never really been a fan of Sean, but I can see the potential. And with an artist like him, I can see to where when he's hitting, when he's coming up with great punchlines, and he's in a great flow, he has great production, he can sound amazing. Dark Sky Paradise is my favorite album from him. In fact, I think it's his magnus opus. It's pretty much his best version of him. I mean, he has some corny lines, like that one line with the song Play No Games, where he made a music video on it, and it was based around like a Martin theme, and he said a line like the planet's line or something like, oh no, he said I'm all ears, in other words, here for you, shit like that, and that's punchline rap. That's punchline rap. That's the Waynes, the Seans for you. They can be amazing and they can be bad. And for Sean, he was at his peak on Dark Sky Paradise. Great production, great flows, great cadences, and he had good bars. Some corny ones, like the planet aligned something. I don't know. I forgot it. But he had bad lines, but it wasn't that bad. Now, Detroit 2, there's not that many bad lines per se. There's not like songs just littered with horrible bars. There's some good bars, some good little wordplay. But the thing with Sean is that, I don't know, it's something about Sean's delivery. I always say, like, the thing with Sean, and it's not just him, it's something I feel like with other rappers. It's one of the reasons why I'm not really a fan of Kendrick. I'm not really a fan of Drake. I'm not really a fan of Cole. Is that a lot of these rappers, a lot of the mainstream rappers have very weak voices and delivery. And I feel like that's why, I mean, first off, I don't think they're that lyrical, and they aren't. When you look at their paper and you look at the lyrics they're writing, they're not really that lyrical, and that's no big deal. Like, I'm no lyricist. I mean, I'm a fan of lyricism, but I'm no lyricist, elitist nerd where I think like you have to be super lyrical, like Killa Priest or something, and just be rambling on. Like, no, that's not me. But I do feel like they are a bit overrated lyrically, to where people act like they're just so great. But even if they weren't, I feel like their bars are also weak because the fact that they have such weak voices. Like, I feel like Kendrick has a weak voice. I feel like Cole does. I mean, Cole's voice isn't really that bad. I think it just depends on his cadence. It depends on the cadence he's using on the song. Drake, I feel like he has a weak voice, though sometimes he can kind of sound dope. Like on If You're Reading This, I found like his cadences and his flow and delivery was great. I think that's his best project. With Sean, it's the same thing. I feel like, his delivery, like with Lil Wayne had great delivery, and that's what made even his most iffy bars, his most sus bars, his most, mediocre ones sound pretty cool, because he had a delivery, he had a cadence, and he had the confidence. Like, you can tell Wayne when you listen to him, that nigga, he knows he's the shit. And even if he knows that his bars isn't the most witty, creative, or most out of this world thing, like, he says it with such a confidence. I think that's Sean. I mean, maybe he does have the confidence, but to me, he just seems like he doesn't show it. Or maybe he does have that confidence, he just doesn't have the right cadence to where it comes across like he does. Like, I feel like with Sean, for someone who is kind of like Wayne, he kind of needs more like Wayne's ability of having that voice, cadence, and delivery, where like he really is very what's the word I would say? Not urgent, not I would say he's just a little bit more powerful. You know what I mean? Part of it also is just because, you know, some of the bars are whack. but besides the lyrics, the project is pretty good. It's nothing really amazing. I mean, it's a pretty nice introspective album. But I feel like some of the songs are kind of ruined by some little, very kind of not so whack bars, but kind of just like unnecessary. And that's the thing with Sean with making an introspective album. Like I said, I can't help but compare this to Dark Sky Paradise. I feel like with Dark Sky Paradise, he wasn't doing so much of these punchlines. I mean, granted, with Sean, you kind of have to expect punchlines. That's his style. He's a punchline, you know, braggadocious / introspective rapper. Like I say, he's basically like basically a Detroit Lil Wayne. But like with Dark Sky Paradise, and I'm sorry to constantly compare it, but that's his best album. You know what I mean? That's his best album, and part of it why it was the best was because I feel like Sean, he didn't really do so many punchlines. I know that's asking a lot for him to not do so many punchlines, but I feel like with this album, he tried to cram in too many bars. I don't know, like our first listen just feels like Detroit 2 was just full of just so many unnecessary bars. And I understand that's Sean, but it's like, you know, if you're trying to get into an introspective album, sometimes it's best to be kind of straightforward. You know, it's kind of good to not be trying to be so lyrical and witty. Like, sometimes it's best to just go straight and just say it and just say it. No extra run on of the bar because you're trying to get some word play in or some play on words. Just say it and go on to the next train of thought. And so that's part of the reason why I feel like the project is pretty okay. It's cool, but in terms of its introspectiveness in terms of content, it's not really that, you know, amazing or that in depth, because it feels like Sean will say something kind of surface level and then he'll follow it up with a little metaphor to really hit you, because again, punchline or something, you know, he'll hit you with a little simile or something, and it's like, you know, sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. I feel like I feel like the second half of this project, like I would say what's the difference? I would say from time. I would say look at the track. I would say from track 14, which is Time In By, with the 2088, which is, you know, that group he does with Shaniko Aiko. I would say from there to the ending is pretty dope. I like all the songs from 14 to 21. You know, Story by Eric, but that's a skit. But Feed was pretty cool. Baddest, it was alright. Dawn Life with Lil Wayne, pretty dope. I liked it. You know, these are two guys who are basically the same of each other. One's a Detroit version of One's a Detroit version of Wayne, and Wayne, you know, the southern version of Sean. And so that was a pretty dope song between these two rappers, basically the same. Wayne ate Big Sean. I'm just going to say that straight out. You know, Wayne killed Sean. I mean, like, in regards to that, you can really see the difference. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, you know, dick ride Wayne or say anything, but you can kind of hear the difference in rap skills, not just in lyricism, but in terms of, like I said, going back to what I said about how Sean needs to borrow from Wayne about cadence, delivery, what was the other thing? Cadence, delivery, flow. I feel like, you know, Sean needs that. And you can hear it. You can hear the difference between him and Wayne and how good Wayne is. Friday Night Cypher. I mean, that's, you know, self-explanatory. It's pretty dope. You know, it got all the, you know, a whole legion of Detroit rappers of all different styles, of all different, you know, origins coming together to do like a huge cypher track. You got, T Grizzly, Boldy James, you know, Cash Doll, Eminem, Royce the 59, and they all did their thing. I liked how, everyone had their own style. Everyone was spitting, different cadences, flow. I also love the beat switch. That's the one thing I really love. I really love that beat switch. I like how they didn't just go with just one beat and just kept on going. No, the beat changed, and it went with, like, the different styles and stuff. That's what I really loved and really appreciate about that track. So I found it to be very neat. Pretty much, I think that's pretty much the standout. Looking here on Genius, looking at the views of the track list, that's pretty much the most viewed track. So yeah, I think for everyone, that's the standout track right there. Story by Stevie Wonder. Even though it's a little skit, it was pretty nice to hear Stevie Wonder and do little stories. I really like the skits. That's one thing I also liked about this little project was the skits. I thought the skits were pretty cool. I like the skit by Dave Chappelle. I found that to be a pretty dope story. Pretty funny too. Stevie Wonder, as I just said, I enjoyed it. Erykah Badu, it was alright. I'm not the biggest Erykah Badu person, so for me it was like, and the project finished with Still I Wise with Dom Kennedy. So overall, the project was dope. If I was to give it anything, I think 3.5. It's a very solid project. I do find it to have some weaknesses. Like I said, Sean, he's dope. Not really a fan, but I see the potential. When he's hitting, he is on. He's like Wayne. But the thing with Wayne is that Wayne, he more than, well, I won't say more times than not, Wayne has some, he has some bad albums. You know what I mean? Like, I Am Not a Human Being, that was trash. So Wayne has some shit. But the thing is, Wayne has a lot of highs, and Wayne at his highs, is better than Sean. As great as Dark Sky Paradise is, come on, it's no Carter 2. You know what I mean? So, Wayne, he has his, flaws, but he has better highs. And he has more highs. He has more quality albums. Sean, I feel like he doesn't have as much as Wayne. And his highs are dope, but it's not as good as Wayne. So with a rapper like him, like I said, I can see the potential. I can see someone who, like I said, Midwest version of Wayne, braggadocious punchline rap with a mix of introspectiveness. So he has that lane to fall back on, whereas Wayne is very straight up, braggadocious punchline rap, and that's all he does. I can see the potential, but with Sean, it's like he doesn't really live up to that potential. He kind of, muddies the water, with certain things he does. So, nonetheless, dope project. I suggest checking it out. Some of y'all probably have already checked it out, but it's a good listen. So yeah, that's it. Just my little quick thoughts of what I think about this little Sean project.